Okay, so let me start. Hello. Guess I should greet. It's been a long time. So let me uh greet. I'm Samuel. It's been a very long time since I'm uploaded, but hi. But let's talk about self-policing. Self-policing is a very good thing. Very good. Uh so it's very excellent for us to police ourselves. So if there's affinity fraudsters out there, we don't have to wait till the feds show up. It's very wonderful for someone like a JT to go and expose that person. All right. And I think anyone who cares anything about the black community would be in favor of self-policing, this self-policing that JT is doing. Okay. And he wasn't the first. He's I think right now the most successful at it because he's an accountant, so he can kind of look at the numbers. And overall, that project is a very good project. Okay, we should be able to self-police ourselves. We should be able to have accountability for ourselves. The issue is if you're going to expose fraudsters, okay, then you shouldn't be a fraudster. And there's more to fraud than just the monetary thing, but you shouldn't be engaging in fraud, including intellectual fraud. Okay, intellectual fraud, and that's the issue with JT. See, a few years ago, these self-appointed police, and again, I'm in favor of it. They decided, okay, we're gonna fight these fraudsters, these guys out going in the community, frauding the community. Okay, these fraud fighters. Unfortunately, many of them were what I would call uh, militant assimilationists. So they were claimed to be out for fighting fraud, but at the end of the day, they were fighting kind of the so-called hoteps or the so-called black separatists or so-called the hardline pro-blacks, right? And, and they had this kind of fraud, and it is a fraud. It's intellectual. It's an intellectual scam where they would talk about the same less than five people over and over and over again to create this illusion and to put out the message that it's the hoteps who are defrauding the black community. Okay, the majority of the people engaging in affinity fraud are hoteps or hardline pro-black people. Now, if you look at the people engaging in affinity fraud, you know that is a complete lie. So if you're watching these guys, these so-called fraud fighters, okay, and now the leader JT, this new guy who's very popular, if you look using your own eyes at who gets exposed as an affinity, someone engaging in affinity fraud, and you ask yourself, is this person a hardline pro-black or is this person a hotep? We all know that that is a lie. But then he does a video says, Hotep hustlers keep the black community broke. Changed my mind. Hotep hustlers keep the black community broke. All right. This is a lie that's been continuing for at least 5 years from these militant and simulationists. Hoteps, you mentioned the same people on a loop. Okay. If you look at on his own channel, if you look at the people he's exposing, just ask yourself, okay, what is the ideology that these people are professing? Is it any version of hotepism or any version of any type of hardline separatism? Most of the people who engage in affinity fraud are pro-status quo people. Their ideology is, for the most part, hustle culture. Their ideology is this individualism where, okay, yes, we know things are hard for us, But if we struggle really hard, if you get out there and grind really hard, you can overcome. And if you buy my package, I'll show you how to grind your way to the top. Okay, it's more of a grind your way to the top type. It's not a critique of status quo. So JT starts this video by saying, okay, this is how I'm going to define hotepism. And then he refers us to a video who basically says he doesn't define hotepism. He just, this video that he refers us to just kind of bashes hoteps. Said they're anti-women, they're limiting, they put on this, it was just no definition at all. It was just a little 5-minute smear campaign and say, okay, that's my version of hotep. So you just admitted that your version of hotepism is pretty much negative and that you wasn't really willing to give any real definition of what is a hotep. Now, if you're a status quo person and you are a so-called pocket watcher, you still from time to time watch a hotep channel. And so we all know what a hotep is. Normally a hotep, he believes in some sort of belief in cultural separatism or some sort of cultural rejuvenation by going back to the old ways. Now, the old ways can be the pouring of libations. The old ways could be the really old way, going all the way back to, say, Nubia. But at the end of the day, there's some sort of ideology of cultural rejuvenation by going back to the old ways. Okay. There's some talk of some type of economic rejuvenation by focusing on the community, right? Okay. There is some critique of the present status quo. It is not this critiqueless ideology that the majority of affinity fraudsters engage in. All right. If you want to scam the black community, you're not going to throw on a dashiki. The average con person intending to scam his own black community throws on a suit and tie. He's not critiquing the status quo. He's saying that if you get my package, I'm going to show you how you can hustle your way to $1 million, to becoming a real estate investor, right? So this is a lie. Okay, he is a fraud. He is an intellectual fraud. So the next time you watch one of his channels, watch one of his videos, and he's exposing someone, just ask the question in your mind. Okay, is this a hotep? And you say, no, this person is just a status quo person. Yeah, they may talk about the black community because remember, they're engaging in affinity fraud. So of course they're going to say, okay, let's develop the community. But you know darn well that this person isn't a hotep. He started after he went from this stupid smear campaign of a video that he started out with. He then started on Jay Morrison. He labeled Jay Morrison a hotep. Now, you're going to tell me that anyone would come say Jay Morrison is a hotep. But because there's so few hoteps, in fact, that you know of out there scamming, that he has to recruit hoteps. He has to declare a person a hotep. Okay. He mentioned Umar Johnson. Yeah, that what you would call, he's a hotep. Someone like Brother Polite. Yes, he's a hotep. Okay. These are hoteps. But in your mind, you tell me, how many do you know? How many hoteps that you know are out there scamming? When you watch TV and you see they're taking away some black person for scamming their community, is that person a hotep? How many people are that JT profiles on his channel? How many of them are hoteps? Most of them are like him, pro status quo, pro establishment, saying just work hard, save hard, and you can break through the ceiling. That's what it is. Okay. That is what you call intellectual fraud. You have these people over here engaging in fraud. They're engaging in the vast majority of fraud, but because you don't like this group of person, you're gonna say, okay, it's the hoteps who defrauding the community. When the guy show up to your church, he's not in a dashiki. Okay. When the comments, he's not in a dashiki. He's in a tie. He's telling you to work hard. He's telling you to save hard. You tell him to buy your package, right? This guy is a status quo guy. The majority of the affinity fraudsters in the black community are not hardline guys. They are not hoteps. Okay. They are pro-establishment people. They push status quo ideology. The same status quo ideology that JT is pushing. Okay. Now, in this video that he referred us to, the one that he referred us to for the definition of what a hotep is, they talking about, oh, they somehow, the hoteps believe in conspiracies. Okay. Why do so many blacks believe in conspiracies? That's the bigger question. Because we have been conspired against. Right now, in Burkina Faso, there's a trial of the murderers of Sankara, the former president, Thomas Sankara, the former president of Burkina Faso, who, as some of you all may know, was murdered. Okay. Is breaking apart the conspiracy with the inclusion of course, France to kill this guy. That's a conspiracy against black people. Tuskegee, right? Experiments, that's a conspiracy. So there's a lot of blacks who believe in conspiracies because we have been conspired against. It's not like people just jump up and say, okay, we believe in so and so. We have a long history of people conspiring against us. Therefore, many blacks, when they hear about a conspiracy, they perk up their ears. That's not something that's unreasonable. You know what is unreasonable? You still believing in assimilation. You still believing in the status quo. That's what's unreasonable. That's what's kind of cray-cray. Because let me ask you a question. How many generations does it take for a group to be absorbed into the greater American society? How many generations? How many generations does it take? Okay, when a group shows up on the shores of America and the status quo decides that we like these guys, we're going to absorb these guys. How long does it take? It takes 2 generations. 2 generations. Meaning the grandmother is in Little Italy, right? You know, running a pizza joint that started by her late husband, the grandmother. The granddaughter is downtown in a high rise working for a hedge fund, right? It's like 2 generations. It takes 2 generations. Okay, this is for the status quo people, all these, pro-assimilation people who say that we're just a bunch of crazy people because we believe in focusing on the community. Okay, it takes 2 generations. Okay, how long have we been here? At least 400 years. If the math is correct, 4 times 4 into 4, right? Because 25 years is a generation, which means 4 generations in 100 years. So we're talking 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, right? 16 generations is greater than 2 generations. So if we were going to be absorbed, if we were going to be assimilated, okay, if we were going to be drawn into the status quo, which people like JT love so much, it would have happened. It would have happened ages ago. Ages ago. It doesn't take 16 generations to be absorbed in this America. It takes 2. So it's the maniacs, these people with this, the slow mentality, people like JT, who somehow believed, okay, you just working hard. What's all these conspiracy theories? Just focus on and avoid these hoteps who are frauding us. But again, the people who are engaging in affinity fraud are not hoteps. They're people like JT. Simple as that. Now, I'm going to get more into it in other videos. This is just a rough draft. This is a rough draft. I'm going to go through because he talks about Sebi, and I don't know why he needs to do a video about a dead man. In another video, he talks about reparations. Okay, and it's so funny that he has all of this intellectual conciseness when he's picking apart these true affinity fraudsters, but when he's pushing this narrative, he's very loose. He doesn't bother to define anything. He just kind of throws that propaganda out here because, again, we see now that behind this good project, this admirable project of self-policing, is this other project, much darker, which is basically, okay, let me take shots at the hardline and the separatists and the whole, and that's what it comes down to. But let's start like this. I'm back. Make sure you've already, if you unsubscribed, YouTube have unsubscribed my people all the time. And then eventually, I get discouraged or I get super busy, and then I have to disappear and focus on other things. But I think I'm going to be around for a while this time. So check and see if you still subscribe. And I'm going to have to do more than one video about Dear JT. Okay. He's full of it. He's full of it. Okay. His focus on self-policing, accountability is good. But unfortunately, he's doing more than that. He's pushing that same militant assimilation it's the hoteps, which is a complete lie. If you decide you want to con black folks, you're not going to throw on a dashiki and a little hat. You're going to throw on a suit and tie, right? So just start, every time he exposes someone, just kind of keep a little hash, or some sort of mark and say, is this a hotel? He said the hotels are keeping us broke. This isn't a hotel. Okay. Next time he exposes someone, is this a hotel? It's not. Mark. And you just start doing it, and you yourself start keeping score of the people that he exposes and simply ask them, is this person a hotel? Or is this person some sort of hardline pro-black individual? Some type of black separate? No. It's a lie. He has a project. He has a much darker project which he's pushing, behind this good project of this self-policing and holding the community accountable. So that's good for today. I think I ranted long enough. I'll talk to you guys later.